Welcome to the Impactful Engineer Project. I'm Steve Maxey, and with my co-host and brother Jake, we are here to bring you guidance, fresh ideas, and the tools to help you become an impactful engineer.
Today, I'm the Impactful Engineer. I'm here with my brother Steve for an authentic conversation around something. What is it? Engineering and personal development. That's it. Yes, that's why we're here. We talk about engineering and personal development. All right, enough messing around. Our goal is to create an environment for career excellence targeted toward engineering professionals. We believe that being open about what we've learned in our own careers benefit others in their unique journey of engineering. Ultimately, we want people to have fulfilled careers and be inspired to become the best versions of themselves.
Today's episode format has Jake and I presenting a topic where we introduce the why and the how around this topic and give some tips to get the conversation going and inspire some action. Usually, this will be based on something you can deploy in your daily career. Often this includes a mindset shift we invite you to consider moving forward because we know and have experienced the power behind embracing mindset changes.
And occasionally we have another episode type, which is a solo episode. So either Steve or I will be discussing a topic with you. It's like 10 minutes or less. It's a quick 1-2 jab, right hook with some information that we think you need to know, that we really want you to bring to your career or your mindset that we think will help. So we do one of those every once in a while, more like a lecture, and we drop them on Wednesdays, and they are called Wednesday Wisdom. At least we think they have wisdom.
We'd like to think so.
We're pretty sure.
Yeah. And about once a month, and coming up soon, we will bring on a guest. And this is our longest format episode. I think I said the same thing twice there. And where we bring on a guest that has expertise in a particular field and share their perspective, mindset, strategies, and actionable tips based around their area of genius. The overall goal being to provide exposure to multiple thought processes and views in areas that will help you succeed. These episodes are a lot of fun and are packed with useful and thought-provoking information.
I think we're getting better at that. I mean, we fuck up every once in a while, but I think I know the episode types now, you know, and I feel good about what we're doing. Yeah, it's less and less like reading off a script like a robot.
Oh, I know. But it's good to do the housekeeping.
It's cool.
Up front.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, someone new could be listening,
That's right?
So
we welcome you.
We want them to know what awesome episodes that we have, right?
We like to think so, at least.
And what we're going to talk about. I mean, we might even do a renewed welcome to the Impactful Engineer Show. I mean, it's changed, right? Project is evolving.
I think we're due. We are due.
Yeah. Yeah. Think about that. So I'm going to completely surprise you with a topic today.
Let's do it.
I think it's cool to do that.
All right.
And I know you love surprises, Steve.
Boy, do I.
I've been thinking recently about first, those people that are really hard to work with, not like, I don't know. I guess, yes, people that are hard to work with, that you would love to see some change for the better. And the whole team would too. But they do good. They do a great job technically, maybe, or they're proficient in a certain area and they're valuable, but they're not that good team player, that inspiration, that person that looks to fill gaps that would elevate the team. But you don't see them changing much in the next 5 years. They're just going to be a where they're at kind of person, and they might even be kind of trailing off. You kind of see this. You see the end path as being not good because they do just enough, but they're not doing great. And then they have some habits that are going to lead them to the wrong way. And then somebody new on the team comes and has an opposition, to their mindset. And then that affects them. It's this whole thing where there's this person that if they would grow with the team as they evolve, they would be very good, but you're not seeing it happen. So that's the kind of person that I'm framing into this episode. I don't know if you know of that person.
I have a lot of understanding. Yes.
I think so. So do I. And I've probably been that person in other people's eyes, right? So we can all be that, and that we can all see that person as well. What I want to talk about is when you see that person, and if you're in a position to influence that person. Let's talk about that.
Okay.
Which you're always in a position to influence other people, just so you know.
Absolutely.
But when you're someone that really cares and really wants to like show them the light, so to speak, what are the best actions to take, right? And I would say I had this conversation the other day in not so much the same framework, but it's really close. And I was coaching somebody through how to respond to the person that they're seeing that they want to help. And first instinct from this person who was asking me for advice was to get that person on the horn, virtual meeting, and drag them through the mud and show them everything they did wrong and how they want to see it come out. And that's not the best way. So you and I have learned, Steve, that that's not the best way. It never works unless you have a really, really good relationship with that person. They won't see it as being dragged to the mud. They'll see it as you trying to help them. But that's the rare case that you have that much trust and that good of a relationship with them. You still got to handle it in a certain way. But anyway, dragging someone through and pointing out all their mistakes and then saying, do it this way, that never leads to great back and forth. It puts the other person immediately on the defense. I mean, you could imagine how if I call you up, Steve, we're working together and I'm maybe a couple levels above you and I'm using you as a support person, and I call you up and I go, hey man, this thing that I got back, not good enough. We're going to go through each thing and I'm going to show you the way that I would have done it. And then I want you to do it that way from now on. So let's get started. This thing looks like shit. You can't put this thing over here. And I don't care what markup I gave you. I expect you to be able to fill in the gaps. All right. I can't be spending all day marking this thing up perfectly. I might as well do it myself at that point. So what I need you to do is when you receive this,
so much wrong with that.
So much wrong with that. Right. And you put yourself in that position, you make that call and the other person shows up and you're in it, and that sucks. And we've been there and we've been on the receiving end of it too. So what would you say, just like, let's start. What would you say is the best way to approach something like that short term, the immediate, when you have that feeling that you want to show them?
Well, my first inclination is always to try to help, but you have to keep that, to a point, because it really depends on the situation. So the reason why I say that is if the person is really toxic to the culture, to the point where it is absolutely overwhelmingly negating any value that they're bringing to the team, they need to be cut right away, instantly. Bye.
Okay.
So you need to assess that level of impact that they're having to the team.
So if this is a recurring theme that everybody shares, that's been going on for a little while, that is not being corrected, that kind of scenario. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Sure.
And that's why I said it depends.
I agree with
right?
that.
On the situation.
It depends. Yeah.
If they used to be a rock star and they're just going through a rough patch, something's going on outside of work that's causing some problems, right? And so offering some grace there, but also being able to see if you can help them disconnect their personal life, from their professional life, and then how you can support them, et cetera, right? And try to find a way to turn things around at work, and then be empathetic about what's going on outside of work. So that's the other end of the spectrum. So sometimes it's somewhere in between. You have to work with the person to a point, but if there is no end in sight, it's for the betterment of the team, because the team is always more important than the individual, no matter how much you care about the individual. I mean, that's in the Extreme Ownership book, right? It's something that I really resonate with, because, if the team isn't functioning well, each individual is not going to be functioning well. The organization is not going to be functioning well, et cetera, et cetera. And it's just losses all around. But yeah, so if you are a peer, offering to pick up some slack in certain areas is one way you can approach it within reason, right? You're not going to overwork yourself.
Okay, so hold on 1 second. So
unless you want to just back up a little
peer. No, this is good. I like all these different perspectives, but I want to make sure that people are following. So when you say peer, you're saying maybe someone at the same level as you, just horizontal. Yes. Okay. We're not talking about a situation where you're above them in the work anymore.
Because you're still going to have influence as a peer.
which I get, because as peers, you should have each other's backs.
Yes, absolutely.
That's what you should do. Yeah, you should never drag each other to the mud.
Yes.
You should support each other.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you always want to lead by example, right? You do the best that you can to show them what's possible. But if there's something going on that's causing them to not perform at the level that you're used to, be supportive and empathetic on that. And hopefully you'll see a turnaround. And most of the time you will. But there are cases that that individual will continue to decline in performance and then just be more and more negative, and it's just detrimental to the whole team. And that's when you have to disconnect yourself, because you have a lot of work. You need to focus on yourself, and you've given it a shot to try to turn things around, but you have to know when to call it quits. You can't just keep trying and trying and trying and trying, right? Especially if you start, or if they start becoming dependent on you covering their ass, right? And you doing half of their work. You cannot get in a situation like that. Stepping in to help a little bit, to support them, to try to get them to turn around, great. You being the source of them functioning at work, not great. So
Not
just
great.
understanding that dynamic.
That's awesome. So I'm going to continue with the peer thing real quick. So help them, just like Steve said. But if there's only so much you can do, and if you've tried everything that you know how to try, then what I would recommend doing is going to their supervisor and saying, "Hey, I've been working on this thing with John. We've been doing a lot together to help each other out. I still see some things continuing. Just letting you know," because a supervisor and their direct report should have a great relationship to where the supervisor can step in and be more direct and say things along the lines of, "We got to pick this up. This is not good for us. Let's figure this out." Peer to peer it's harder to do that. Your sphere of influence is not as good unless they're like a really good, I don't know, maybe a friend or something. But still, you want to keep yourself within the bounds of the organization. So it's much better for you to first don't bring it, because you could share a boss with them. Don't bring it to your boss and having no resolution or no effort into it, and just make it your boss's problem, because then you're stacking it on him and creating more problems for your boss, and then that's going to be on you. You were the one that created the problem, even though it's the other person. So it's like a perspective thing. So but come with the message if you've tried some things, and just say, "Hey, look, I'm willing to do more. I just want to bring you in on it. I think it's the right time to bring you in, and let me know how it goes. I'm not putting all of this on you, but maybe you bring it up in a one-on-one or something, and you try and help them turn the corner."
Yeah. And I think more often than not, peer accountability is going to be more impactful than a manager to direct report accountability relationship, right? So finding ways to hold your peer accountable when they are being a low performer will help them a lot greater than them just having that coming from their manager.
For me, the manager that I have now, that I report directly to, I would do anything for that person. Just to be honest. So if someone on my peer level saw me failing in a certain way, even if they didn't, I would appreciate them bringing it up to me, because I would love to make the effort to rebound. But if someone told my boss and then they came to me and said, "This needs to happen," I'd be like, "Let's do it. How do I do it?" And I'm ready to turn this around. But I respect my boss. I have a good relationship with them, and I would literally do whatever it took to do what they requested of me, because I know that they have the team's best interest, company's best interest in mind.
Yeah.
So, just to throw more variables in there for you. We're still all human beings working together. So there's going to be more pull. There's going to be some push over here and more pull over here, depending on the relationship.
Yeah, probably.
But definitely don't do what we said in the first point and just call them up and say, "Hey, this is what you did wrong. That's really bad." I've done that before, and it's not good.
Probably the most extreme example for where the peers have or can hold all the accountability and the managers, quote unquote, don't have any power whatsoever is when you're a parent and you have a teenager, right? The relationship between the friends of the teenager is much more influential than the relationship between the parent and the teenager, right? The teenager is not going to want to do anything that the parent wants them to do. But if their buddy says, "Hey, let's jump off this bridge and holding 2 beer cans, this is going to be great," you're going to like, hell yeah.
It's true. I didn't hear a whole lot of what they said. Like, I was doing my own thing. But we could influence each other a lot. And when we were slacking and you said, hey, that's not right, then we really took it to heart, right? Yeah, that's a good one. Or a coach too. Like anything that removes you from the typical authoritative like structure, like kind of helps too. But sometimes you have that relationship like I was talking about where it's like, yes, I'll do anything. But that's not always the case. That's not always the case. Yeah, I would say that in other situations, you may just have to let the person hit rock bottom when they're not ready to turn things around. So let's say before we're cutting them because they're toxic to the team, and that's absolutely the right thing to do if you hear the team complaining a lot about them and it's dragging morale down, it's like you got to get that person out quick, team over individual. But maybe before that, you could if they have the space and you can allow them just to hit rock bottom, they might be ready, right, to then receive the instruction and to turn it around. There are instances where that is worth allowing to happen and being there for that person, right? But it's a fine line. It comes with experience. I don't know if there's anything that I could queue up, Steve, maybe you can, that would allow you to better make that decision if you're in that scenario right now. But sometimes it's good to let them run right into the brick wall, even not rock bottom. Like you see something coming, and before in the similar scenario, you've said something, you've coached, you've tried to help. Maybe you've helped them avoid the wall without them really realizing it.
Yes.
Maybe, sometimes it's worth just letting them crash right in and say, see, I'll give you a good example. It's kind of ridiculous because it's from my pizza days. But when I was 18 and I'm working at Good Times Pizza in Palo Cedro, okay, we made breadsticks a certain way. If you ordered a set of breadsticks, it was a medium dough smashed through the flattening machine twice. And then you cut it up into strips, you twist it, you put the cheese and the garlic and all the good stuff on it. Okay. 2 orders of breadsticks came in at the same time. And I've been there a couple of years and I'm, working through high school or whatever in it. And I'm like, we need to get 2 mediums. Two mediums. You see the balloons? 2 mediums. Genius over here, right? That just started was like, I'm going to get a large dip and I'm going to run it through and I'm going to cut twice as many breadsticks and it's going to be fine. And I'm like, yeah, sure. Makes sense. And then he does it. It comes out shit because some of them are really short and you can't mix and match them right. And they're not coming out in the lengths that they do when you do 2 medium doughs separate. And he pulls them out and I can see him frustrated with it. And I go, you see why we use 2 medium doughs? And he goes, yep. And I go, great, let's do that from now on. He goes, yep.
Yeah.
But what if I had forced him to not do his idea? Because I've done that too. It's like, I'm overriding you. No. Then there's tension. There's that. So allow people to make mistakes sometimes too. Like, don't save them. Right. That was kind of the point.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that goes right back to our episode on, why mistakes are okay is because they're lessons.
Oh, that's right.
So go back and listen to that episode. We could put that in the show notes, which episode that is. But
yeah, some that lesson will help them break out.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. In a scenario where, that's happened in my career is someone had to have assistance to meet some deadlines, and it kept happening over and over and over, and they just weren't getting it. So you just stop giving that assistance. They don't meet that deadline. They have a failed project deliverable. And then now they're in a bunch of heat. It's like, well, this is why, you need to meet this deadline. And so letting them miss that, it's that proverbial rock bottom, right? It's not, they're not being fired, but it's something that is, they're like, oh crap, I really screwed this up. And so, that's another small example, but yeah, that's pretty much all I got on that one.
I would say to sum it up, because we're at the end of this. We've beaten this up. To sum it up, you're seeing someone struggle, or you're seeing someone be that person that the team is complaining a lot about, or you see that toxic person weighing the team down. You're noticing that someone else is not performing to the core values at the level you need them to perform at in a way that moves the company in a positive direction, blah, 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 blah. What do you do? So I hope you've learned a couple of things about what to do that can be helpful, what not to do, and you bring it to your career and that it helps you. And put yourself in their shoes and put yourself as that person and then put yourself as the person offering the assistance and run through those scenarios and apply this and see what helps. There's nothing like being supported. When you get something back that looks like trash and you swear that you did the delegation right and that they should have the skills, right? We're not even talking about reflecting back at yourself and seeing what you can do to make that delegation better, to turn it around, right? So you should always look at yourself too. We didn't discuss that today, but you should. But let's just say that you gave the perfect delegation and it came back crap. You just need to give them more instruction, keep things moving forward. You definitely don't need to drag them through the mud. You just need to be moving things in a positive direction, but then doing some of the things that we talked about, right? So baseline is keep it going. So you have to make another markup. It should have come back perfect, but you got to make another one and send it again. Make another one and send it again. That's moving in a positive direction, but that's not the solution. The solution is part of it is what we've talked about a little bit today, but definitely don't go backwards, right? Don't create tension where there shouldn't be.
Yeah. And if you have a specific situation that you're in, you can always send us a question via either LinkedIn directly to either Jake or myself or Impactful Engineer, or you can send us an email at questions@impactfulengineer.com. We would love to support the listeners and help you find the answer that you're looking for in these types of situations.